Hello everyone, myself Dr. Amanpreet Kaur Kalsi. In this lecture, we'll take up the topic fertilization in mammals. The topics we'll cover in this are spermatogenesis, structure of mammalian sperm, oogenesis, structure of mammalian ovum, and fertilization in mammals. Spermatogenesis is the process by which haploid spermatozoa develop from germ cells in the seminiferous tubules of the testes. Spermiogenesis is the stage in spermatogenesis wherein spermatids differentiate into mature spermatozoa, while spermiation is the process by which mature spermatids are released from Sertoli cells into the seminiferous tubule lumen prior to their passage to the epididymis. Let's take up the process of spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis occurs in the seminiferous tubules of testes. This figure shows the cross-section of seminiferous tubule of testes. During formation of the embryo, the primordial germ cells migrate into the testes and become immature germ cells called spermatogonia, which lie in 2 or 3 layers on the inner surface of seminiferous tubule. The spermatogonia begin to undergo mitotic division at puberty and continually proliferate and differentiate through definite stages of development to form mature sperm. At puberty, the changes are mediated by the action of anterior pituitary hormones, which is around the age of 13 years. In the first stage of spermatogenesis, the spermatogonia migrate among Sertoli cells towards the central lumen of the seminiferous tubule. The Sertoli cells are very large with overflowing cytoplasmic envelopes that surround the developing spermatogonia all the way to the central lumen of the tubule. Spermatogonia that crosses the barrier into the Sertoli cell layer become progressively modified and enlarged to form large primary spermatocytes. These primary spermatocytes undergo first meiotic division to form 2 secondary spermatocytes. The secondary spermatocytes complete the second meiotic division to give rise to spermatids. These spermatids then undergo a series of differentiation process to give rise to mature sperm or spermatozoa. This process from spermatids to mature sperm is called spermiogenesis. During the change from spermatocyte stage to mature spermatozoa, the chromosome numbers, which were initially 46, in the process of meiosis are reduced to half, so that each of the spermatid has only half of the chromosomes, that means haploid, and the resulting spermatozoa are also haploid. The entire period of spermatogenesis from spermatogonia to mature sperms takes around 74 days in humans. Spermiogenesis, which we just talked about, is the series of events that take place as the spermatid transforms into mature spermatozoa. During this time, the centriole, which is supposed to form the mature long flagellum, comes to lie at the posterior end of the sperm. The Golgi apparatus forms the acrosomal vesicles at the future anterior end of the sperm. The mitochondria, which are visible here as small dots, they come and collect around the flagellum near the base of the haploid nucleus and become incorporated into the mid-piece of the mature flagellum of the sperm. The remaining cytoplasm, excess of cytoplasm is jettified, that means is removed off, and the nucleus condenses a lot. The size of mature sperm in this figure has been enlarged relative to other stages. As spermiogenesis ends, the histones of the haploid nucleus are also replaced by protamines, This replacement results in complete shutdown of transcription in the nucleus and facilitates the nucleus assuming an almost crystalline structure. Next comes the structure of mature spermatozoa. Each mature spermatozoon consists of a head and a tail. The head comprises a condensed nucleus of the cell with only a thin cytoplasmic and cell membrane layer around its surface. On the outside, the anterior two-thirds of the head is covered by a thick cap called the acrosome, which is made of Golgi apparatus. This contains a number of enzymes similar to those found in lysosomes of the typical cell, including the hyaluronidase enzyme, which has the capacity to digest proteoglycan filaments of tissues, and proteolytic enzymes, which can digest proteins. These enzymes play important roles in allowing the sperm to enter the ovum and fertilize it. The tail of the sperm, called flagellum, has three major components: a central skeleton constructed of 11 microtubules arranged in 9+2 pattern called the axoneme, a thin cell membrane covering the axoneme, which is covering the axoneme, and a collection of mitochondria surrounding the axoneme in the proximal portion of the tail called neck of the flagellum. The second part of the figure shows the 9+2 arrangement of microtubules in the axoneme of flagellum. This shows the first A tubule, A portion of the doublet, is a normal microtubule comprising of 13 protofilaments, and the second B tubule, B portion of the doublet, contains only 11 protofilaments and sometimes 10. The dynein arms contain ATPase activity that provide energy for flagellar movement. Okay, now the doublet arrangement is further enlarged to show the tubulin dimers, which are arranged to form the A and B microtubules. The back and forth movement of the tail provides motility for the sperm. This movement results from a rhythmical longitudinal sliding motion between the anterior and posterior tubules that make up the axoneme. The energy for this process is supplied in the form of adenosine triphosphate that is synthesized by the mitochondria in the body of the tail. A normal sperm move in a fluid medium at a velocity of 1 to 4 millimeters per minute. This allows them to move through the female genital tract in quest of the ovum. The hormonal factors that stimulate spermatogenesis include luteinizing hormone, which is secreted by anterior pituitary gland. It stimulates the Leydig cells to secrete testosterone. Follicle stimulating hormone, secreted by the anterior pituitary gland, which stimulates Sertoli cells. Without this, the conversion of spermatids to sperm, that means the process of spermiogenesis, cannot occur. Then testosterone, which is secreted by the Leydig cells located in the interstitium of the testis, is essential for growth and division of testicular germinal cells, which is the first stage in forming sperm. Estrogens formed from testosterone by the Sertoli cells when they are stimulated by follicle stimulating hormone are probably also essential for spermiogenesis. And growth hormones is necessary for controlling background metabolic functions of the testes. This specifically promotes early division of spermatogonia themselves. In its absence, as in pituitary dwarfs, spermatogenesis is severely deficient or absent, thus causing infertility. Some more facts about human sperm. Each day, some 120 million sperm are produced by the two testes of an adult human. Normal sperm move in fluid medium at a velocity of 1 to 4 millimeters per minute. The unused sperm are either resorbed or passed out of the body in urine. Sperm can live for many weeks in male genital tract, but once ejaculated in semen, maximum lifespan is 24 to 48 hours, that means 1 to 2 days in female genital tract. At lower temperature, however, it can be stored for weeks and below 100 degrees Celsius for years. Coming to oogenesis. Oogenesis is the process of differentiation of primary egg cell into mature ovum. Unlike spermatogenesis in males, oogenesis in females starts before puberty. Oogonia undergoes mitotic divisions. These oogonia give rise to primary oocytes which starts meiosis I and are arrested in the diplotin stage of first meiotic prophase. Each oocyte is enveloped by a primordial follicle consisting of a single layer of epithelial granulosa cells and a less organized layer of mesenchymal theca cells. Periodically, a group of primordial follicles enter a stage of follicular growth. This starts happening after puberty. During this time, the oocyte undergoes a 500-fold increase in volume corresponding to an increase in oocyte diameter from 100 micrometer in a primordial follicle to 80 micrometer in a fully developed follicle. Concomitant with oocyte growth is an increase in the number of follicular granulosa cells, which form concentric layers around the oocyte. This proliferation of granulosa cells is mediated by a paracrine factor GDF9 that is a member of TGF-beta family. Throughout this growth period, the oocyte remains in the dictide stage, that means the diplotin stage. Fully grown follicle thus contains a large oocyte surrounded by several layers of granulosa cells. The innermost of these cells will stay with the ovulated egg, forming the cumulus, which surrounds the egg in the oviduct. In addition, during the growth of the follicle, a cavity develops called antrum, which becomes filled with a complex mixture of proteins, hormones, and other molecules. Just as the maturing oocyte synthesizes paracrine factors that allow the follicle cells to proliferate, the follicle cells secrete growth and differentiation factors that allow the oocyte to grow and which bring blood vessels into the follicular region. While still in the ovary, the ovum is in the primary oocyte stage. Shortly before it is released from the ovarian follicle, its nucleus divides by mitosis and a first polar body is expelled from the nucleus of the oocyte. The primary oocyte then becomes the secondary oocyte. In this process, each of the 23 pairs of chromosomes loses one of its partners, which becomes incorporated in the polar body that is expelled. This leaves 23 unpaired chromosomes in the secondary oocyte. It is at this time that the ovum, still in the secondary oocyte stage, is ovulated into the abdominal cavity. Then almost immediately it enters the fimbriated end of one of the fallopian tubes. Then, if fertilization occurs, the meiosis II is completed and zygote is formed. If not, then the secondary oocyte dies off at this stage only. This figure shows the ovarian follicle of mammals. When mature, it is called Graafian follicle, which has the inner oocyte in the secondary oocyte stage, arrested in meiosis II, surrounded by granulosa cells called corona radiata, and then there are other cells, the granulosa cells. Outside this are theca cells, theca interna and theca externa. Between the oocyte and corona radiata is the layer called zona pellucida. And there is a cavity in the mature Graafian follicle called antrum. The diagrammatic view of human ovum. The cytoplasm is called ooplasm, and it contains a large nucleus called the germinal vesicle. The ovum is surrounded by three coverings, namely an inner thin transparent vitelline membrane, middle thick zona pellucida, and outer thick coat of follicular cells called corona radiata. Between the vitelline membrane and zona pellucida is a narrow perivitelline space. Next, coming to fertilization. In mammals, the sperm released during ejaculation are able to move, but they do not yet have the capacity to bind to and fertilize an egg. On coming in contact with fluids of female genital tract, multiple changes occur that activate sperm for final processes of fertilization. These collective changes are called capacitation of spermatozoa and takes 1 to 10 hours normally. Some major changes that occur during capacitation are the uterine and fallopian tube fluids wash away various inhibitory factors that suppress sperm activity in male genital tract. Sperm lose excess cholesterol, making the acrosomal membrane weaker. Sperm membrane becomes more permeable to calcium ions. Thus, calcium enters in the sperm in abundance. High levels of calcium inside the sperm increases activity of flagellum and changes acrosomal membrane, making it possible to release enzymes rapidly when it comes in contact with zona pellucida. The major steps in mammalian fertilization, as just talked about, the oocyte has a cell membrane outside which is zona pellucida, which is extracellular matrix, and a layer of cells called cumulus, which is the extracellular coat. The sperm has to pass through all these to come in contact with cell membrane and then enter it. The first step is sperm activated by female reproductive tract, which includes the process of capacitation that we just talked about. The activated sperm now binds with zona pellucida as it has been activated and can easily pass through the cumulus cell layer. As the sperm comes in contact with zona pellucida, acrosome reaction occurs in which acrosomal enzymes are released into the zona pellucida. This helps to create a canal through which sperm lyses a hole in zona and enters the zona pellucida, reaching the egg cell membrane. Ultimately, sperm and egg cell membrane fuses, releasing the nucleus into the oocyte. Of all the components of sperm, the nucleus and centriole enter the ovum. Let's see acrosome reaction and penetration of ovum in detail. The first step, sperm makes contact with egg zona pellucida. Acrosome reacts with zona pellucida and release the hydrolytic enzymes, which includes hyaluronidase enzyme and proteolytic enzymes. Then acrosome reacts with perivitelline space. The plasma membranes of egg and sperm fuse. Sperm nucleus enters the egg. At the same time, cortical granules, which are present inside the egg plasma membrane, they fuse with egg plasma membrane and makes the vitelline layer impermeable to sperm, thus preventing polyspermy. Here, the mature ovum surrounded by the corona radiata cells is shown. The corona radiata cells are dispersed on the entry of sperm. As the sperm enters, the male and female pronuclei are formed, and the last E part shows reorganization of a full complement of chromosomes and beginning of division of the ovum. Fertilization of the ovum normally takes place in the ampulla of one of the fallopian tubes soon after both the sperm and the ovum enter the ampulla. Once a sperm has entered the ovum, which is still in the secondary oocyte stage of development, the oocyte divides again to form the mature ovum plus a second polar body that is expelled. The mature ovum still carries in its nucleus 23 chromosomes. One of these chromosomes is female chromosome known as the X chromosome. In the meantime, the fertilized sperm also changes. On entering the ovum, its head swells to form a male pronucleus. Later, the 23 unpaired chromosomes of the male pronucleus and the 23 unpaired chromosomes of the female pronucleus align themselves to reform a complete complement of 46 chromosomes in the fertilized ovum. This is all about the process of fertilization in mammals. The references of this lecture are Developmental Biology book by Scott Gilbert and the book Textbook of Medical Physiology by Guyton and Hall. Thank you.